Hi guys, welcome. Today I'm going to talk you through how to put together a compact survival kit. Compact is kind of a double entendre because it's compact, it's small, but also it's a makeup compact. So anyways, here, let me tell you why I'm using a compact. It's not just because I'm a girl, okay? It's because, so last week you may go to my channel and see that I made a video about the ultimate survival stick. And I was all excited about it. And I made it. And then I started searching YouTube and realized, oh, I thought that I was like the first person to think of the survival stick. And apparently there's like a whole group of people that make survival sticks. I do have to say that I think my survival stick is way better than everybody else's, and it was way cheaper. But, I covered a lot more bases than most people. But anyways, then I got the flu, okay? So I was on my butt all last week, and you know how you do when you have the flu. You just sit on your butt and you watch survival YouTube videos. Doesn't everyone do that? Well, that's what I did. Anyways, I realized that in the survival world, most people make more than just a bug out bag, and some people make these little tiny scaled down survival kits that they put in an Altoid tin. And I thought, oh, that's a really good idea. Take an old mint tin and put survival items in it. Well, I don't have an Altoids tin. Okay, so that's why I'm using a compact, really. The long and the short of it is that I don't have an Altoids tin. Which, okay, already you can see by this compact that I'm going to be extremely limited in the things that I can put in here because most survival items are long and thin and they fit nicely into a rectangular shape like an Altoids tin. I'm talking about items like a pencil or matches or Band-Aids or needles. Things that are long and thin fit a lot better in a rectangle. I'm dealing with a circle. So let's see what items I was able to put in and what items I left out and why. So first of all, let me show you how I did this. And let me just tell you right out the gate, straight out the gate. The reason I'm using this compact as opposed to another small box is because most compacts already have a mirror in them. So I was looking at a few other little boxes that I have, and I thought, oh, I should take the mirror out of my compact versus buying a signal mirror. I could just use a mirror that I already have. But then I was like, oh, wait, why would I try to take that out? Why don't I just use the compact as the box? Because it already has the mirror built in. Are you buying what I'm selling? Anyways, that's why I did that. So the first order of business was to take the makeup part out of the box. And again, this is a very limited capacity shape. It's less than 3 inches in diameter and less than an inch in depth. So not a lot of space. But I was still able to cram a fair amount of things in here. So let's go through it. First of all, one of the survival items that I think is particularly necessary is a rubber band. You never know when you're going to need a rubber band. And what I have found in my short time on this planet is that, those rubber bracelets that you get at different events and stuff, they make really good rubber bands because they're very durable. They don't stretch very far, but they're really durable. So anyways, one thing about this compact is once I got all the things in it, it doesn't shut very well. I mean, it takes a lot to snap it shut. So the bracelet here is acting also as a layer of defense to keep my compact closed. So, and also if I put the rubber band, bracelet, whatever on the outside, then I'm not taking away any space on the inside. So that's the method to that madness. Let's look inside the compact, shall we? So this is what I was able to cram inside. So I'm going to go through each item now. So let's start over in this corner. In this corner, we have a rotary cutter blade. So for some reason, I sew a lot and people just give me random things. And somebody gave me a package of rotary cutter blades and they're too small for my rotary cutter. So what else am I going to use it for? I might as well stick it in a survival kit. The reason I'm using this, okay, and I did debate this. Okay, well, let me start over. The reason I'm not using a small pocket knife is because I don't have a small pocket knife. I'm trying to use the stuff that I do have. But one of the things that I was going to use in here instead of the rotary cutter was a small pair of those sewing kit scissors. Because, you know, people give me sewing kits all the time too. So I've got a ton of those little tiny crappy sewing kit scissors. And they're decent for cutting thread, but not for anything else. So I will say that the tiny scissors fit into my survival kit. It wasn't a matter of not fitting. But the rotary cutter blade fits a lot better because it's round and it's flat and it's really, really sharp. So not only will it cut thread, but in a survival situation, I could use this to make a feather stick. I mean, it won't be easy, granted, but it'll be a lot easier to use this blade versus a pair of crappy scissors. Furthermore, in a defense situation, I mean, this is not a great line of defense, but this rotary cutter blade is going to do more damage to an attacker than a pair of crappy scissors will. So, you know, trying to think through different scenarios. And so that's the blade that I went with instead of a knife. Next thing, rubber band. I've already showed you my bracelet that I'm using as a rubber band. Then next is sewing kit. Okay. I've heard a lot of survival people diss the sewing kit, and I'm not sure why. Because in my life, I've really never needed any of these items except for maybe the Band-Aids and definitely my sewing kit. Not just for myself, but for people that I am with. People rip their clothes way more than you think. Or like you lose a button. A button will just come off randomly. What are you going to do? Well, you can sew it back on. So what I have done is I took a little tiny piece of cardstock. Like you can see, this is a little tiny piece of cardstock. It's the size of a small safety pin. Okay. And I chose 2 threads that are the most likely to be colors that I wear, or at least will be compatible with colors that I wear, which is white and a dark navy blue, mostly because I couldn't find my black thread. So anyways, I wound a bunch of that on, and it's really surprising how much thread you can get in a little tiny amount of space like that. I've also included 2 needles. So the silver one on the left is a regular needle. The one that has like a golden head, that one is a self-threading needle. So the reason, and I've actually included 2 sets of needles. Here's another set that I've taped to the bottom to keep them from rolling around. Here you can see a little more clearly what the self-threading needle looks like. There's a notch in the side that you can just feed the thread through versus trying to stick it into a hole. You never know what situation you're going to be in, and if you have a low light situation where you can't see to thread a needle, it's good to have these self-threading needles as a backup. So, and the reason of all the items that I've included, that you can see the majority of items that I have a redundancy of are the needles, really. Not much redundancy, not a lot of space for redundancy, but I have included 4 needles, and it's because if you use a needle, you're probably going to lose a needle. They're very easy to lose, so that's why I have 4 of them. All right, next thing is fishing gear. So you also see next to the needles that I've taped 2 hooks. Now, I could put more hooks in here, actually, but I just didn't. But I just have them in case I need them. So 2 fishing hooks, and I actually have fishing line wrapped around this candle that I have taped on because otherwise it will come unwound. So I just have that in case I need it. People always include a fishing kit in their survival kit, so that's why I did it. Next thing is, this is not even a full cotton ball because a full cotton ball would not fit, but this is part of cotton ball. Obviously, this is not going to be to sterilize anything, but what it is for fire starting. So I can at least use that to start a fire. That's why that's there. Next thing is a piece of string. This is, how many? Maybe 10 yards of black cord. It's cotton cord. Okay, so granted, it's not the strongest cord. You never know, though, when you're going to need string. And you need string, not thread. You know, you need something thicker than thread. So I've included it in this kit. And it's cotton thread. So in case I can't start a fire with the cotton ball, I can maybe unravel the thread. And I know it's flammable because I tested it. So that's what that's doing there. Then the next thing is my candle. Okay, so we haven't gotten to matches yet, but I do have 2 matches. I might include a few more. I ordered some more because we're running low on matches. But you need some capability of starting a fire. So, and I couldn't fit a ferro rod in here, even a small one. I don't think I'd be able to close my kit. But it's okay because I carry other capabilities of fire making in other areas. But anyways, I have 2 matches in here right now. And we all know matches only burn for a few seconds. So you want to have some kind of a candle to prolong the fire a little bit, especially on a windy or damp day. You want to make sure that you have the capability of starting a fire to last more than just a few seconds. So that's the purpose of this candle. The next thing is, you will notice one major thing left out of this kit that every survivalist is probably already laughing at me for is the fact that I don't have a compass in here. Or do I? Wait. Or do I? Haha. If you know anything about compass making, then you know I have a compass in here. These are magnets that actually come off. Anytime you go to a conference or something, they give you those name tags, those magnetic name tags. Always save your name tag because you can rip the magnet off the back, and with a pair of pliers, you can finagle the little magnets out. These are really high power magnets. Don't throw them away. They're very useful. So you see that I've written N on this stack of magnets, and that's because this is the north side. Okay, so yes, I do have a magnet in here. I actually have capability of making a few different types of magnets if you know anything about compass making, which I'm going to just say that, and then you can go to YouTube and look up how to make a compass from a magnet or how to make a compass from a sewing needle, and you can figure that out on your own. But anyways, there's my compass. Next thing is a pencil. You know, you always want a method to be able to write a note if you need to. You can see my pencil needs to be sharpened. Whoops, the lead is broken. This is just the top of another pencil that I cut off, so you don't even have to buy a mini pencil, just make one. Next thing, most people include zip ties, but I don't have room for zip ties, so I am using bread ties, or as some people, we grew up calling them twisty ties. So I have a few of those in there, and you can use them for the wire. There are times in your life when you might need some wire, but also twisty ties come in handy for a lot of different things as well. I've already shown you my matches. Sorry, I'm hitting the wrong thing. Let's get back to my picture. Here it is, matches. So yeah, I have matches. Next thing, toothpick. And you know, if you watched my ultimate survival stick video, you know that I believe in oral hygiene because it is part of having good health. So I've included not a toothbrush, but a placker. This is a little piece of floss that's attached to a toothpick that I had to bend it in order to get it in there. Obviously, this is not the most sanitary of situations. If I were to use this placker, I would, of course, put it somewhere else and not back into my survival kit, not at least without cleaning it thoroughly. But anyways, there is that. You never know when you need to get stuff out of your teeth, or you're not going to you're not in a situation where you're going to be able to get back to your house to brush your teeth, so you can at least do that. All right, then we have safety pins. Okay, safety pins are always useful. You can also use them as a fish hook if you need to. Mirror, I've told you, that's really the whole reason I'm using this compact is because it has a mirror. And this is a really good size mirror, so you can obviously see your entire face in this mirror. But obviously it's a very good signal mirror. It's almost 3 inches in diameter. That's bigger than most signal mirrors. So of all the things to not scrimp on, I have a really good size signal mirror. Okay, then the next thing is paper. Okay, this is the smallest Post-it note that you can get, and they come in fluorescent colors, which is helpful. I only have like maybe a stack of 5 or 6 because that's all that would fit, but I prefer sticky notes to just having a little piece of paper or a little tiny notebook in there because they're sticky. So if you need to leave a note for somebody, you can stick it to something, And also, in a pinch, you can start a fire because it's made of paper. Then I have a couple Band-Aids in there. Band-Aids are always useful. Okay, this is one thing that I have not really seen on anybody else's survival video, but a needle threader, that's what this is. So obviously, I have the self-threading needle, but in case I need it, I can also thread a needle with this, but that's not my reason for including it. My reason for including it is because these are like the best instruments that you can use to get snags out of your clothes. I use my needle threader in my sewing kit in my purse all the time because you always snag your clothes on stuff, and then then you got this big old snag hanging out everywhere, and it's really unsightly, especially if you're at work or something. So these are really helpful. Basically what you do is you stick the needle threader in behind the snag, so inside your garment, and you poke the wire part through right where the snag is. You stick the snag into that loop of the wire and then pull it through, and then you can't even see the snag anymore. It's very useful. But, I could also use this needle threader for other things as well, but that's probably what I'm going to use it the most for. And then next thing, tweezers. Okay, really my reason for including these tweezers is because I found them at the Dollar General and I thought they were really cute because they're like less than 2 inches. I've never seen tweezers this small. And I thought, you know what? Tweezers are actually really good for survival because you never know when you're going to get a splinter, or, you might need to pluck your eyebrows. I don't know. And in which case you have a nice mirror right there. Furthermore, for like minor surgery that you might need to do on yourself, tweezers can come in handy. Also, if you drop something in a crack, tweezers are just about the only way to get something back out. So tweezers are always useful. And let's see what else. Okay, I have magnets. I showed you that. Okay, and then another thing is aluminum foil, which I didn't point out earlier, but that's what I have my string wrapped around, is a bit of aluminum foil. Aluminum foil always comes in handy for a lot of different things. I can make a float to float my magnet on in order to make the aforementioned compass, or, the needle or whatever. There's a lot of things you can do with aluminum foil. Make a tiny Faraday cage for your phone, something like that. Then I have super glue, which obviously is used, but it still works because I tested it. Super glue obviously is handy in many different situations. The final thing that I have included, and this is something that men don't even think about unless they have long hair, but a hair tie, people. A hair tie is like one of the number one survival things that you need because nobody wants to deal with long hair. Okay, like think about those movies and stuff that you see, TV shows. I tell people this all the time. The most fictional part of Walking Dead is not the zombies, okay? I would believe zombies way more then the most fictional part of Walking Dead is the fact that you have a bunch of women running around fighting zombies with their hair down. Like, I am here to tell you that if you are a woman watching this video, 95% of you have your hair up in an ugly bun. And you're not fighting zombies. You're probably sitting on the couch. Okay? That's how women do, is we put our hair up because nobody wants to deal with hair. Anyways, in a survival situation, you're definitely going to want your hair up. Ask any woman in the military. They have to either have their head shaved or they have to wear their hair in a bun. Why? Because hair gets in the way. So, number one survival thing for long-haired people is a hair tie. All right, so obviously you see things that I have left out of the survival kit, and some of those things are not entirely limited to these things, but things that are missing are flashlight. I don't have a flashlight, but don't worry, I carry flashlights all over everything else. So I've got plenty of flashlights elsewhere. If I need light, I do have matches, okay? So, and I do have the mirror, so if I need a signal, whatever. I also don't have water tablets, but I don't really have anything to put water in anyways with this survival kit. So I have methods for water and elsewhere. So that is something that I have left out that maybe I should include one if I could fit it. Maybe I will at some point. Next thing, wire. I do have little tiny bits of wire in the twisty ties. I would feel a little better if I had a few yards of wire because it always comes in handy. I might at some point wrap some wire around the pencil, but I just didn't do that yet because to be honest, I did wrap it around a few things and then it kept coming unwound. And so I was like, forget it. We're going to leave it out for now. But that is something that I have left out. A whistle. I don't have a whistle. I did order a little tiny, tiny whistle and I'll see if I can get it in there to fit. So maybe that will work for a signaling purpose. In the meantime, at least I have my mirror. So there's that. Then next thing I don't have in here is paracord. Obviously, where am I going to put paracord? There's no room for paracord. So I do have string, so that's going to have to make do in the meantime. I also don't have a tissue because a tissue would not fit, but I do carry tissue packets elsewhere, so I should be okay with that. But anyways, that is my survival compact. So I hope this at least gave you some ideas of making a container of your own. You don't have to make it the way everyone else makes it. You don't have to have an Altoids container. What do you have on hand that you could use is the question that I am posing to you. So, I don't know. Think about it. In the meantime, thank you for watching, and I hope you have a wonderful day.